Development for Artificial Intelligence. Let's welcome Maxim Grigoriev, CEO of Association of Digital Entrepreneurs. Yandex DT, Chief Information Officer. Let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Managing Director Nikolay Kozak and Dmitry Markov, CEO of PAMAX and SPI. So we'll be able to go in depth of this topic today. We're going to listen to many presentations, and we have here representatives from Yandex, and several days ago they've launched a report on the development of Russian Federation in artificial intelligence and AI technologies, with evaluations and assessments of the situation, also with opinion of the Russian AI Association. And at the current moment, we have the opportunity to learn about the practical implications of artificial intelligence in business. And in reality, we'll learn how to scale artificial intelligence. So let's start with several facts, quite interesting ones. And this is when we started to develop this technology at the level of state in 2017. There was the first strategy on the development of artificial intelligence, and the most interesting thing about it is that there were already 30 countries that agreed on developing artificial intelligence, and the key task that was faced by those countries back then is developing economy, encouraging entrepreneurship, improving operational efficiency, and using the solutions with artificial intelligence back in 2018 that would allow later to scale it, to scale the solutions, to scale their by 2023. So the path from developing tools and technologies based on artificial intelligence, their implementation in processes undertakes a serious journey that we'll have to pay attention to. Besides, there are lots of barriers in implementing artificial intelligence, and we will also discuss those barriers today with our speakers, because we would like to understand how to better overcome the barriers, how to fulfill all our goals and meet our goals and fulfill our tasks. And I would also like to draw attention, maybe for your information after the session, recently a report jointly by MIT and JP Morgan has been published that tells us that it's the scaling of artificial intelligence that's now one of the biggest pains and downsides, because only 15% of companies are indeed speaking about successfully scaling, about being able to successfully scale artificial intelligence. In our country, we've started from from the fact that by the beginning of 2023 we had 20% of AI penetration in various industries of the business, but goals and tasks of our country's strategy is by 2024 for this percentage to reach 50%. So the more we'll know about the practical use cases, about implementations and the availability, the better we'll be able to implement it. Regarding today's agenda and its topics, our speakers used to speak more about competition, that there is a competitive advantage that would like to hide. Now, everyone is aimed at sharing these cases, sharing these competitive advantages, so we're able to improve the level of digitalization at the country level. So let's move on to our first questions on the agenda, and I would like to ask this one to you, Maxim. Your research that acted as a foundation for the consultative report. I would like to learn on what are the international trends that you outlined, what are the main insights that you're able to share with us, and what are the key questions, what are the key issues that surprised you when you were conducting this research. Good day to you, dear friends, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for your question. Well, probably the most important things have already been mentioned at the plenary session today. It has been a very fundamental one, and some things that were voiced there, we probably might come to the realization a bit later on. These things were said in plain language, but they were said that these things that were touched were very important. And now the biggest insight, the key outtake that we have to put in our hands is that artificial intelligence claims to be another general use technology, about common use technology. It's the technology that's going to revolutionize the world, that's going to revolutionize industries, reshape them, creating something new. It's called a general purpose technology in English. Please note. It's like GPT. It's very similar to the acronym GPT. That's not everyone now knows. First thing is that artificial intelligence penetrates everywhere, penetrates all our industries, becoming a technology of general use. And formally speaking on trends, you've asked me about trends. This week we have the European Gartner conference. I love Gartner company. I used to work there in my previous life, and Gartner publishes 10 technological strategical trends for this year, and these trends, as they say, will impact us for the coming several years. So the specifics of this year, out of 10 trends, approximately half of them is related to AI in various means. It's an unprecedented situation. Before, we used to have a situation where there are several trends on the development of AI engineering. Now, approximately half of global trends is AI related, so it's the first big trend, and everything that it encompasses the penetration of AI into cybersecurity, AI penetration in the ways that we are going to work with so-called augmented workspace, with augmented intelligence. There are lots of sides to it, the democratization of AI and decreasing the entry barrier. The second thing, and I would like to note it from the point of our research that you have already mentioned here, the median body temperature, if you say so, it's 20% in all the industries. Finance was the pioneer in this. Everyone wanted to get back behind this pioneer, but on average, this percentage is indeed higher in finance across the participants of the poll. 90% have been implementing AI in one way or another, so it already has become a technology that changes rules of the game of the financial market. It's a game changer. So for us in the finance, this has already happened. And the third outtake, the third important point, so as not to waste too much of your time, and I think that still we'll be able to say some things here besides. The third positive outtake is related to the fact that our research shows that in Russia, on average, situation from the point of view of our global competitiveness remains quite strong one, because 76% of solutions done in our financial organizations are done based on open source, open code, or in-house developed decisions. So there's not the problem of isolation does not exist if only we don't isolate ourselves exist. And there is no such problem seen on the horizon. There are some no specific problems with global access, with arms race in terms of resources. Of course, it's going to be a significant task, and globally we need to solve these tasks. How do we get access to those precious exaflops? Thank you very much, Maxim. Indeed, it's very important, and our commitment into the international field. So I would like to, once again, within the framework of this discussion, to address Dmitry, as he's a representative of not only the biggest telecom company in Russia, but you're also head of the company that specializes in developing software solutions in AI. And always you've been promoting Vision Labs on the international arena in many countries of the world. So I'd like to know more about your vision of key trends now on the international arena, what's in priority now, and how do we develop now. And thank you very much, Olga. First of all, good day to all of you. Thank you very much for choosing our session, and I hope that you will not regret it. On trends, I can only say the following. Basing, based on what happened over only the last year, that speaking about trends, in AI is a lost cause. 18 months ago, when I was speaking at St. Petersburg Economic Forum, answering to a similar question, it was very simple back then. What was said there is, look, take a look. We have top four stories that everyone invests in, the most, and the market. That's the biggest. First is everything natural language related, voice recognition related. Second thing is video analytics. Third are virtual assistants. These three trends will define and shape the market for the coming 3 years. A year has passed, and it just turned out to be that generative artificial intelligence started to break through all the records. So when we speak about trends, we need to say one thing: that trend can change quite rapidly, and the tools can change quite rapidly. Because for sure, I can tell you that generative AI can significantly shape the computer vision market, change it, disrupt it. This is the first thing that I want to say. The second thing that I want to say is that uh, precisely a year ago, when I was talking about this, I always said that you just take artificial intelligence, you see growth on all directions. Market is growing by 35%. Private investment grew by 35%. Just call everything AI. It's simple. Tech specialists, tech engineers, they're doing a good job. They're becoming stronger in 15 years. They've learned how to be good marketing people. They learn how to call different difficult things with simple names. But if you take a careful look at the latest Stanford report, you can identify that for the first time, the trend has changed indeed. That in 2022, over the year 2022, private investment in AI decreased by 30%. Yes, they continue to remain strong, approximately at a level of 90 billion USD, but nonetheless, they fell, and the hype is changing, the hype trend is changing, and this is the trend that I can tell you, that I can say for sure. This is the last thing I want to say when we speak about Russia and the foreign countries. What worries me about Russia, about AI, and about everything else that's happening with these kind of technologies is that we unfortunately are now stripped of a very important part of this market. We're stripped from the access to the market of venture capital. If we just take a look at statistics a year ago, and we have some sustainability in this. A year ago, I told that the number of venture deals fell significantly in 2023. It fell even more. Frankly speaking, now to play the big game in artificial intelligence, it's a cost that not alone can pay. If you are part of a big structure that's ready to take on itself, let's say, the geopolitical risks, because indeed, when you do product and develop a product, I can assure that if it's a real product, if it's what we call a product and not a solution, it can only live when it's used not only in Russia but also abroad. When you thus enrich the product and you do the product of a level of an international level, Vision Labs, and if you focus on the global market, most likely the level of costs and expenses that you will not be able to make it higher than the benefit you will get from it, and the things that you can allow can only be done by large corporations that have this huge volume of finance and funding, and in general the situation is like this, and we hope and we count on it that it changes for the best. But unfortunately, if I'll change my clothes and become a head of the MTS AI Center, I can say the situation is like this. For us, it's good opportunity. Why? Because in the center of AI MTS, we do products not only for MTS, although we have done a lot and we will do more, and we are doing a lot of them. We are also a direct investment fund, and at the current moment, we have a good opportunity in front of us to invest all the assets interesting to us, to invest them in the assets that can be in demand not only in Russia but also abroad, and to really speed up, to really accelerate the assets with our experience as Vision Labs when we entered the international market, and to allow the Russian companies to avoid some kind of barriers and to help them to find the roads more traveled and to be able to provide them with the success of these companies.
Thank you, Dmitry. Before the discussion, we with Dmitry discussed to which degree we communicate officially or informally. So indeed, it is important for us to attract investments. And now we have giants companies who are ready to make investments. And Dmitry touched important issues about the situation of the Russian market and companies. Therefore, I'm giving the floor to the next speaker, Soslan, as a representative of Cifra, and you understand about the development of the Russian Federation further regarding AT, and we would like to know your opinion and your views regarding the development of AT and what are the fields where AT will be developing in Russia. Thank you. I'm greeting all of you. I'm glad to see all of you. Thank you, Olga. I'll tell a few words about our projects. Our project is related with the issue that you have just discussed, as it is meant for development of artificial intelligence in our country. Grigory Borisenko suggested to create the platform for artificial intelligence development in our country, which would be the platform which would satisfy the main requests of the contractors. And we are discussing about the digital database, which will include state information and government organizations. Therefore, we decided that before we project this story, it is important to know which data and in which fields is needed by businesses. And as a result of our research, I think that we can conclude about the fields which require the researchers in this sphere. We have chosen 8 main fields. This is agriculture, transport, retail finances, building, and most quantity of requests were in the field of agriculture, healthcare, and in transport. So answering your question, our vision is to develop these fields because they are intended to use artificial intelligence technologies. Also, it is important to highlight the access to the data in these fields. Russian Federation legislation protects personal information access and access to personal data, even impersonal database, and there are lots of strict requirements in this protection. Regarding healthcare, we have lots of regulatory barriers which would not allow to process medical data because this is medical secret. The same is in other fields. So we should analyze their possibilities to use this database from the state in order to develop artificial intelligence. We plan to publish at least 10 data sets, and on the basis of the decision of professional committee, any company can have access to this data. because this is a good condition for our partners. So we plan to create the platform and the tool set for artificial intelligence. So, dear colleagues, we are open for our cooperation. If you need some database from the state, we are ready to work on it and to create competitive products. Thank you, Soslan, for your efforts, because Cifra is very much open for dialogue. As we heard before today, they are ready to open new sets, to create new quantities, and for using medical data sets. Moving to the practical discussion, our next speaker is Nikolay. I remember the previous conference where you shared cases on artificial intelligence, and could you please tell us about those projects, about Russian Euronet, and could you share some life hacks for us, your recommendations where we should move now? Thank you for giving me the floor. Of course, we should move ahead. First, little disclaimer consisting of 3 parts. I'm the representative of stock holding company. I cannot refer to the data of Gartner and Stanford. And second, I was very much impressed from the previous plenary discussion, but I'm not about to make visions. My opinion and my company's opinion is this hype around artificial intelligence, which is very much felt by the market, has led to a dropping of these companies. On the other hand, state database is one of the fields which moves GDP ahead. I want to share with you and to tell you about our projects. We were not able to be apart from this interesting story as artificial intelligence. And our task was, on one hand, to test artificial intelligence from the point of view of real effects relating to safety, import substitution. And in this case, if we have a positive response, that we should develop it, we should use it. Yes, we have tested some of them. We can recommend something to our bank. We have a bank in our system. And jointly with the Ministry of Education, we can create certain educational courses on artificial intelligence. So what were the barriers for us? Of course, a lot of mistrust from the community. And we are very thankful to Yandex company, which supported us. We couldn't count whether it was able to revenue. So our first task is to break this wall of mistrust from our colleagues, from our partners. And what we started with, we recorded a cartoon video, and we also recorded a film with toys, some dolls which could attract people. And we were thanked and appreciated by our colleagues and business assistants. And this program was effective. And second, we invited the lawyers,
которые никто не понимает.
and they were complaining that they were not comprehending the language that we were creating. Therefore, we made the text of 3 colors in order to make it more understandable for the lawyers and our other partners. And the text was, of course, encrypted in our corporate portal. And actually, as we heard today, that everything can be written and encrypted. But we engaged some Soslan technologies in that. And second useful thing that we did, that we involved IT sector and made a pilot project. And we saw the effectiveness of this project. We started then to collect some genes which generated a certain code. And in this way, due to this technology, we made this more simple. After that, we realized that it was working. And although we were not able to count the effectiveness, we started to communicate intensively with Sber and Yandex companies, and we addressed to the contractors, to builders, and started to engage a lot artificial intelligence. And also the Ministry of Construction and of the industry became involved in these projects. A very successful story was regarding the educational course together with Sberbank. All our colleagues went through this course online, and 100% of top managers also understood this course, so we made it understandable. And in future, we plan to create educational course together with Sber for the beginners. Recently, we launched a few pilot projects, and safety and bank secrets were considered in that. We have our stand here, or you can address us and ask your questions. We moved into the automatization of processing of the instructions, and it was used with artificial intelligence. We analyzed news from the point of view positiveness, negativeness, and neutrality. Now we want to create a recognition system of the documents. Also, we created some stories which we use for the contact center. And now I can say about the effectiveness of this program, because 20% of the time of the operator was released. And of course, we are all at the beginning of our path, and it's very gladdening that we are discussing about it at such level. And this hype and missionary activity, so-called in its bad meaning, didn't make it fall down. Thank you, Nikolay. It's good that you've shared about your jointly projects with Yandex. And of course, artificial intelligence has lots of hyping. But what can we say about the leadership of our country in that? In fact, Yandex company answered these questions. Yandex company created its own GPT, and Yandex has the strongest computers and so my question to you, what would you recommend? How should we move from the local projects to scaling? Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for coming here to listen. This is an excellent question, actually. I'm witnessing lots of hyping, not on the personal level, but at the level of businesses, around neural networks also. Many companies address us with great needs of using it, but they don't understand what exactly they should do in order to increase their GPT. So they understand that it is difficult to create good generative model. This is one of the main 4 ingredients which is meant to create good AI, but talented people is a very good symptom of Russian staff. There are lots of talented people in Russia, so due to them, we are successful. And also we should create algorithms. And this question is not an issue nowadays because open source technologies have the basis for all of their developing artificial intelligence in the world. Regarding the business, my view is generative programs will optimize human resources, not to substitute, but just to optimize and help. Another thing is such a basic thing as information search. Around 15 or 30% spent of office employers spend their time to search for the information. So it is also a barrier that either they waste their time or they cannot find the information a lot. So artificial intelligence in searching the information can make our work more successful and to optimize the time and cost effectiveness of human resources. Enterprise search is our program, which was successful, and now we are suggesting people to test it in a dialogue mode. Among the main cases, I would divide them on 4 groups regarding the cases of GPT technologies usage. One of them is marketing. It is everything related to our potential client, from the creative ideas to the web page contents. And so big language models are helpful. And next is HR.
Communication with your employee, communication with candidates, with recruits. Here, large language models assist. In this third is sales. Once again, you can clearly see a pattern emerging here when we speak about the company needs to communicate with someone on a standardized approach, and here large language models can assist in terms of sales. There's lots of various cases. For example, we are recording client conversations. We try to draw out meanings from there and fill in cards in our CRM. We also do analytics. Of course, logical communications for small and medium businesses are as also the places that we see where optimization happens with the use of large language models. But now the most promising in the coming future, the most promising field I see to be support, contact centers, client support. The colleague already has told that they found tens of percents of things that can be optimized. It's a huge market. This that amounts to hundreds of millions of rubles in Russia, maybe even more than a trillion. No one knows for sure is spent by companies on contacts with their own existing users to solve problems, and there are lots of ways to optimize, not only in terms of cutting down costs, but also on the customer satisfaction, so that they have less downtime, so that they get a better answer, and optimizing the client support. We can also improve it with large language models, and here the most important thing I see to be is hints and guides from the operator, not replacing it. Why? Because now large language models, first of all, are not responsible. They're not criminal responsible. Secondly, they have their so far they make mistakes. They make mistakes more often than humans do. If we speak about critical communications, then we need a person who will verify it, to make sure, and maybe to improve some things, but the optimization is still big. But then I would like to wrap it up with the following. Large language models are like a car factor in terms of its complexity, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of car plants in the world, but large language models are only, and they only exist in decades. There are only tens of them. What does it mean? It means supporting large language models, developing it, which comes at huge costs, huge expenses, and everything that I've listed before. If it has some commercial, it's commercial justified for only a small number of companies, for specific languages, for specific, very narrow market niches, and Yandex did not have the opportunity not to do it because it was clear that search solutions, search tasks are following this direction. Now we have the opportunity to share this technology with the company. At the same time, you need to understand that due to the complexity of the system, it's much more difficult in alienating it on-premise, far more than any other technologies that I know of. Here, there is certain resistance. It has always been there, resistance to cloud technologies, and now we see quite a powerful trend drifting towards companies moving to clouds and the so-called red critical data. And it seems that the appearance of large generative networks will only propel this development forward. There are tools that allow for the maximum efficiency, who, if not clouds, know how to protect their contour better. For some of the companies, it creates some kind of illusion of protection, that we have everything stored inside as safety. So here, I call on the market to call on on-premise data protection issue from a different angle in order to use large language models. Well, you'll need to go in clouds in one way or another. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this complexities that we can face in scaling. Do not move away from practical use of it. Dmitry I'd like to get back to you in the practice of use of the solutions in MTS. To tie what Alexey said, we indeed see the development of artificial intelligence technologies in contact centers with the boom that happened, optimization that took place. And in my understanding, this is quite a vertically scaled artificial intelligence that is also very important to have all the functions of the same contact center for our operators to use artificial intelligence or for this process to be automated in general. But we also have the horizontal scaling or reuse internally in the company. How do we transfer the practice when you optimized one functional process? How do you get the opportunity to scale it up to other functions? What barriers and hurdles do you face? I would like to know more. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Now we can hear me. Thank you very much for the question. It is quite a difficult one. Why? Because MTS is not just a telecom operator. MTS is an ecosystem, and in general, the Artificial Intelligence Center is providing all the companies of the ecosystem with the AI products, and we are not talking so much about the process. I will say about the process in the end. We're more about the fact that in MTS we pay a lot of attention in implementing artificial intelligence almost everywhere. We have a special program that is optically monitoring certain readings, certain tasks. Now we're in this talks on what do we and how do we measure. And what we want to do indeed is an MTS, an IT-driven company. In order to do so, we did an artificial intelligence center. For this, we went a long way. We said about the call center, getting back to what we started in the year 2021. Everyone says that the communication center will take place through artificial intelligence, and the person will not participate. It means that communication of client company with what is key in customer service will be done with the use of artificial intelligence. And things we started from our own MTS call center, where many people call very often, and now we have these very simple things that we call voice bots, that we call chatbot. So you can service without any person. You don't need to wait for the beeps. You need to click some buttons. You don't need to have all of it. And we think that we'll always strive for this, so that the customer, if anything happens with them, so that the changes, the service happen in a way where customers indeed satisfied. So in order to rank up the quality of our customer service, it's still a key trend. We did a lot of projects for it within the group. At a certain, I wouldn't want to stop at some specifics of it. Out of the fun things, we have Kion online cinema, you know probably about it. What we did there was some simple things such as oversight over some curse words, obscene words, that is live. It was asked from us. We can also do some content categorizing to also have a face recognition of the actors, so to do some fun things. Regarding large language models, I will fully agree with the point that this is a very costly thing. Not everyone can allow and afford it. So for us, we made the decision that we for sure will not be one of those ready to invest on our own in these things to do our own language models. We took an open source one. We've been working with it. The company and the team are playing with it. We found use for ourselves in the fact that we want to do a competitor of Copilot service. Those of you who work in development, they know that it's an aid to a software developer. On the one hand, we have all the data that we're able to save the code. We would like to do a Copilot to help the internal development, the in-house development. We think of it as a large trend. So in general, I fully agree with the point that artificial intelligence, if 20 years ago we get back, we have this industry that's called IT, and everyone said, okay, if you don't do IT, then very soon you will not have a company in general. And now, when I want to draw this border very clearly, that for the last 2 years I've been thinking of the term artificial intelligence. I don't discern artificial intelligence from IT, and I call on everyone for this. It's going to be easier for everyone because indeed the industry in itself of information technologies, it just changed everything, and artificial intelligence is a natural continuation of this field. There is nothing, there's no hype in it. There are some new things, but they always appeared, and those of you who are not doing it, most likely you'll not have a company in the coming 10 years. This is it for me. Thank you very much.
Dmitry.
Thank you very much, Dmitry. You have clearly emphasized that informational technologies are not separated from artificial intelligence. And regarding the financial sphere, we don't produce products without digital database. So my questions to all of you. Every speaker has described the hurdles and barriers regarding the artificial intelligence. So which recommendations each of you can give now? Yes, good question. It was actually a separate block in our research, and I can highlight three barriers. The main barrier is human resources and competency of the employers. So our colleagues told today how to solve this problem as education, bringing the human resources and artificial intelligence help for education. Artificial intelligence chooses hyperparameters and generates fits. So we have solution for that. Another problem that you, Olga, have just told, it is the problem with scaling and difficulties in the projects. The statistics is frightening. It is until up to 50% of pilot projects are not finished. Around 25% of pilot projects achieve the goal with classical technological projects. What to do with it? We also have answers for that. Technologies. We should solve these questions with technologies. We should create platforms of technological solutions which would allow to scale artificial intelligence. Yes, we have passed this way. We learned how to scale. As Alexey has just told, the life cycle was a bit longer. And the third problem, 67 or 61% is the problem of access to a database. On the one hand, the state helps, and on the other hand, as we discussed today, we should create platforms and solutions for data exchange. Yes, we have technologies to exchange the data without breaking the privacy rules. Artificial intelligence helps to solve this problem partially, but in reality, we see the solutions for these three problems. I'm optimistic here. Thank you, Maxim, for your optimism. Indeed, we will discuss the barriers in the second part of our session. But the problem, another barrier, is that we have no time for questions and answers. So now we can answer one question from the audience. Denis Chaprik, Bank of Russia. My question is to Dmitry, Nikolay, and to you, Olga, regarding the practical application of artificial intelligence. It is a very important question. Everybody invests and develops in this field, but profit is not very obvious. Yes, we heard about the promotion of artificial intelligence by IT specialists, but what is about the general mass of businesses? Yes, I can answer this question. As it seems from your words that we have kind of philosophy. Yes, today when driving here, I never use my own car. I use metro and Face Pay. This is the service in Moscow Metro, which allows to go through the tourniquet without using the cards. This is the simplest way of artificial intelligence application. Another simple example is to unblock the smartphone with Face ID. And any big city or megapolis use artificial intelligence for faces recognition to find a criminal or to find lost children. Another example is if you visit any factory or plant in the Russian Federation, control vision is used at these big plants to improve the quality of the products, and the time of reimbursement is not long, 9-12 months. Actually, my question was a bit different. Not where it is applied, but the question is when it will be promoted, not by the hyping of strategy, but it will be advanced by the profit, by the demand of the profit. I don't think that this example about Metro Face ID is very good, because it's not very good reimbursed. Okay, I can answer this question. Business will understand it when the business will see the profit, real profit, and when the business gets the product, as Steve Jobs told. And now we have a secret chart of Finapolis here, and German Yurievich told that the credits are approved by artificial intelligence. And one of our technologists say that we will do 146%.
Мониторинг СБ фроды можете?
And also financial monitoring. He asked whether we can do. So the question is, what can you do for your business? Yes, when we hear a certain reference from the business addressed to IT. So this is excellent binding of artificial intelligence and business. So when the relationship between business and IT are good, when business will feel convenient to use artificial intelligence, then it will happen. I can also ask this question. I can.
Искусственный интеллект или нет?
Of course, it's not hype, as all the speakers said, because now AI is what brings in the profits. But to speak about our company, VSK Insurance House, we employ a very utilitarian approach. We love calculating everything. So any strategic initiative with data-related, infrastructure-related, we for sure have to calculate the effects. We have to have the return, the ROI. It has to be the first 3 years, and to invest for the coming vistas. For us, even with the existing strategy, we did not select this approach. So here, I see colleagues from the industry, from my field, we're all think the same. We share the same approach. So the first artificial intelligence solution that can be as scaled as possible in the insurance field was, of course, the pricing and the scoring, insurance scoring as in the banking field. The second field is everything marketing and sales related. So the affinity for demand that will scale up for all the sales channels, and it's very important fraud related cases, because also we employ AI, and it's also scaled to the maximum. And of course it's also our specific of the insurance field is the reserves, the approach to reserves based on language models. And I think of it more as the conservative functions where we use artificial intelligence. And here it's very important, we've said it at the plenary discussion today, to outline investment, to dedicate investment, that Dmitry said, to shape new tools and to employ AI in new process. Okay, dear colleagues, let's have one more question to our distinguished speakers. Good day to you. Can you hear me? I'm here as a private, as an individual. I'm the second time I come to Finnepolis. So with pleasure, I'm here for 2 years consecutively. Before that, everyone was an expert in soccer, politics, and construction. Now everyone is an expert in then the data that you use for training your models, and they are the right ones. So the first question is, maybe we just do an outsourcing. Maybe we just do an outsourcing company. I take data for normalization and I leave state data behind that everyone is responsible for. But once again, digitalization, data that we don't have on Moscow and St. Petersburg, we can catch a lot of problems in there. So these costs of normalization data, do you bear it on your own companies, or what solution do you find for these problems? Who is the first one wanting to answer? I would like to end it. We're also experienced epidemiologists. And if we speak about Yandex, then we are an outlier in this, because we've been working with data all our life. We know everything about the web, and we have lots of users who help us in this process. And of course, we still lack, in order to train a large language model, we need to have a large number of perfectly written texts. Well, once again, take a look, please. Of course, some assets are ready. It's a separate market. It's not a very large one, but the data that you might need, you will never be able to find them. Specifically, if we talk about Yandex, in order to train our large language model, we hired many hundreds of experts. We call them AI trainers, that every day for several hours they do texts or answers to this complex questions, perfect questions, so that the large language models would be trained on them, and then to outline which kind of language models are better or worse. So they approach the alignment of how to correctly train these models. Thank you very much, Dmitry. Allow me to add from the outside of computer vision. You know, we work a lot with data. We have specialized departments and divisions, and we don't have a singular approach. We have a part of data sets that can be purchased, and there are some data sets that we need to do ourselves. There is part of data sets that we can change with someone, because then they're not sold out like that. But if you give something very valuable to them, they will give something. They will share something valuable in response. But If we speak about the market of recognition, of facial recognition systems and data sets, it's all quite simple there. We know for sure which data sets do we need. We know for sure which races do we need. We need the quality of the data sets that we need, because always we participate in international competitions, and international competitions, they take a look at when would they define the, and they work a lot, and in which conditions you work well and not. And following the result of these benchmarks, you'll be able to always see things that you lack in your engine and your solutions. And if you just buy more of it, you update your model, you go out on the competition once again, and if you do well, if everything works for you, then you win it, or you go in the top 3, as we usually do. But for example, situation when our last station that we had is when we're constantly working with technologies. When you identify a person from a silhouette, from some details of clothes, now you'll not be able to find a data set like that. So we put cameras on Moscow streets ourselves, we do videos ourselves, and based on that we train our data sets. This is the story. A very interesting case we have when we presented last year the first model on fighting detection on the streets, when automatically the street detects a fight in the street, in bus, in the subway carriage. We just hired people from neighboring republics who modeled this fight. Now, well, if I had a monitor, I would show you some funny videos. We've been training our models, and we have some good readings. This is the story. Thank you very much, Dmitry. Maxim, you also wanted to reply? Yes. The only thing I wanted to add is that it might sound a little bit offensive from my side that there are experts in AI, the software experts, the couch potato fans. No, it's because of the quality of management, data management. We're quite mature in our companies, so from the top practices that appeared. On the other hand, and for what I wanted to tell you more is that a complex stage awaits us when we'll have to fight with distinguishing between synthetic and fake data. Yes, there is a gap. There is an abyss looming there. The decisions, the laws that will be done on the national level on data watermarks, but there it's going to be fun. It's going to be fake detection mechanisms against fake data. So in a year, we'll get back once again. Please do come back to the next Finnopolis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question. It's indeed a relevant one. It also tells us about the unequal access to data that indeed exists, and how between the ecosystems and players and modern businesses, and also the access to commercial enterprise data, state entities, and a lot of questions. We have a lot of data was there on artificial intelligence use, and here we see the regulation that holds us down, holds us back in the personal data, and the ideas and the acts. Soslan, so I would like to ask you on this, and this is the final question for our discussion: how to solve the issue of inequality of data and the unequal access to data. You, as a representative of the Minister of Digital Development, what is your outtake? What is your vision on data management, data oversight in Russia? Thank you very much for the question. It's indeed a relevant one. And now allow me to remind that in the Government Duma we have a draft law on review of the second reading, the draft law that provides for this draft law provides for some mechanism when personal data on the third party company is depersonalized, and then is able to be used also by developers of artificial intelligence systems. We hope that this law will be adopted, and it will facilitate the creation of such mechanisms that would allow the safety on a safety basis to process personal data regarding information on restricted access done with the legal framework to certain types of medical information, tax information. Here, our colleagues from the Ministry of Economic Development have a draft law, have initiative of draft law that enters the term of data sanitation. It depersonalizes the data for some types to also get back from the touch information and the providing the opportunity to use them. These are the two mechanisms, and I will once again remind you that in the foreign jurisdictions, along with depersonalization data, there is such term as an data anonymization, and it's given up as depersonalizing this data provides for some theoretical to depersonalize the data obtained from other sources. Then the anonymization, even on theoretical level, does not allow for such an opportunity. And here we look at developing understandable mechanisms of methods of depersonalizing the data that would allow for meeting this balance of interests between the opportunity to use data and to keep on the
And Maxim also has told about the federative or decentralized education, where this mechanism allows to process the data at the place of the contractor. So it eliminates the risk of depersonalization. Thank you, all the experts, for this interesting discussion, and also to our guests for your interesting questions. And my great appreciation to you and thankfulness that you propagate collaboration and friendship in your business.
Спасибо огромное.